Hi everyone, I'm Dale Smith, aka Journo Dale, and we're here to talk about Canadian politics. This last week, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau appointed former Governor General David Johnston as a special rapporteur to look into the allegations of foreign interference, and a lot of people have been asking just what is a special rapporteur? And Pierre Poilievre, when the initial announcement that this appointment was going to be made, would say, it sounds like a fake job. Does it come with a sword and a cape? And try to really downplay what this is. But special rapporteurs are real jobs, and they largely exist in the international context, around things like the UN or the African Union or the Organization of American States. They all appoint special rapporteurs to examine particular issues, mostly to do with human rights. A special rapporteur it's a special title that for people who go around and they have specific mandates to investigate, monitor, and recommend solutions for specific human rights problems. So that's kind of where the term comes from. We're not using it in a human rights context in this case. We're using it in more of there's an issue, we need someone to look into it and make recommendations going forward. This is what he's going to be doing, recommending, first of all, looking at what we know, what has been disclosed so far, that kind of thing, and then to recommend what the next steps are going to be. And that could be, and is likely going to be, some kind of a public inquiry, but that also means determining the size and scope of what that inquiry is going to be, because that's a very big question for such an issue like this, because it could be extremely broad and look at all foreign interference happening in the country, or it could be just what China is alleged to be doing, or it could be just at the federal level, it could be just with federal elections, or they could try and have some kind of broad mandate around provincial and municipal elections as well, although the federal inquiry powers might step on some toes there, and they might need provincial buy-in to go further. But that's, again, what the role is being envisioned in this particular case, is someone who can make recommendations of what those next steps are going to be. And if it is to be a public inquiry, to try and set the scope of what that is. And the government has already said they will abide by whatever recommendations he makes, sight unseen. So that's kind of where that process is landing. It's a more unusual title for something in Canada, and I've been trying to think of some other alternatives, like if you called him a special advisor. I don't know that would have the same kind of punch necessarily in terms of what he is tasked with doing, because it's more than just advising, it's also to look into the situation and what we know, and who has some, the security clearances necessary to look at the intelligence that is out there, and, some of which is being leaked to the media. So it's not just advising on next steps. It's also making sure that he's got an adequate understanding of what the landscape is currently and what information we have, so that it informs what the next steps can be. And again, so I don't know that just calling him an advisor would do the same thing. And I suspect that would lead to some kind of more ridicule in terms of just what is he advising on, that kind of thing. It's not a watchdog position so much either, despite the fact that certain media outlets have used that label. So again, special rapporteurs, they're a real thing. The UN is stuffed full of them. I went and had a look at the site in terms of just some of what they what rapporteurs they've got, and There are things like Special Rapporteur on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. Some of them are called independent experts and not special rapporteurs, but they do largely the same thing. Special Rapporteur on the Right to Education. Special Rapporteur on the issue of human rights obligations relating to enjoyment of a safe, clean, healthy, and sustainable environment. Special Rapporteur on extrajudicial summary or arbitrary executions. Special Rapporteur on the right of food. Special Rapporteur on the promotion and protection of the right to freedom of opinion and expression. There's special rapporteurs on Indigenous rights, independence of lawyers and judges, internally displaced persons. So we see a lot of these in international context. We get UN special rapporteurs visiting Canada on a not infrequent basis, and MPs meet with them when they arrive. So again, trying to dismiss this as, a made-up title and trying to downplay it, I think it's mostly just a cheap shot. We are also talking about people who tend to operate in bad faith, so that's not unexpected. But again, it's a real job, it's a real position, it's a real title. It's one that more or less I think is probably the best suited for the job at hand, even though it's unusual in a domestic context. There we have it. Special rapporteurs are a real thing. And that's everything for this week. Join us again next week for some more Canadian politics. I'm Dale Smith. That's at journo_Dale on Twitter. And don't forget to like the video, share, subscribe, and support us on Patreon. Thanks, everyone.